We start with the story coming out of Philippines, where President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered police and military to halt all operations in the deadly war against drugs that has killed thousands of people. According to the public memorandum released by Duterte's office, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency will now look into all the operations related to the war against drugs. Duterte has been facing international criticism for his gruesome approach to ending the menace of drugs. But what led to this change of heart is still unknown, as it comes just ahead of the ASEAN summit, where he was expected to face heat. Activists claim that more than 3,900 people have been killed in the country-wide operation since July last year. Let's get in Surya Gangadhar, and WION senior editor, for a perspective on the story. Surya, what do you suppose resulted in this? Was this international pressure, and is Duterte the kind of leader who would give in to international pressure?
I think there was a combination of factors, domestic and regional. And if you've been following developments in the Philippines for some time, as recently as last Sunday, there was an opinion poll which showed that Duterte's ratings, public ratings, have fallen fairly steeply. And although overall he still remains popular, perhaps those dip in ratings are worrying for this person, because there have also been demonstrations in the streets. Even the Catholic Church has got involved against him, against the killing of suspected drug traffickers and addicts. So clearly there is a certain public opinion building up against him, and Duterte is somebody with his ear close to the ground. He knows when to go ahead with something, when to back off. So perhaps that was one set of reasons, the domestic reason, which prompted him to pull back the police from the war on drugs. But do understand that he did this earlier in January this year, when he gave the police 5 weeks to stay out of the entire anti-drugs war and then put them back in again. So there is nothing to stop him from sending the police back into the streets once more against drug traffickers. So this is one of the reasons that could have prompted the decision. Right.
Now what, presidential spokesperson is saying, and I'm quoting him here, he's saying that now we target higher echelons of the syndicates as well as their protectors in the government. And he said that the street-level distribution networks of the quote-unquote drug lords has been degraded due to successful police operations in the past couple of months, 15 to be precise. So, in all likelihood, this seems to be temporary, Surya. What do you think? He's going to once again perhaps resume the kind of crackdown that we've seen in the past?
See, if you've followed the Philippine press, they go to the streets and check with people. And the general sentiment appears to be that the war on drugs is basically targeting the poor. So when you're telling me that now the scale of the war is going to go higher up in terms of targeting the upper elite of Philippine society, perhaps that's where the need for killing may not be there. But perhaps that's the next phase of the war on drugs. So we'll have to see where this goes, and whether Duterte can break the nexus between high-level Philippine politicians and government people and businessmen.
All right, Surya, thanks so much for joining us with a perspective on these developments that we're tracking from the Philippines. This comes just ahead of the ASEAN summit there. Now, moving on. In a major development in the Palestinian administration, the two warring factions have been at loggerheads for well over a decade now. Hamas and Fatah have now declared that they have reached a deal of political reconciliation. In a statement, Ismail Haniyeh, who's the chief of Hamas, he's announced without disclosing the nitty-gritties of the agreement. Ismail Haniyeh has said, and I quote, "Fatah and Hamas have reached an agreement at dawn today upon the basis of a generous Egyptian sponsorship." The negotiations for the reconciliation began behind closed doors Tuesday in Cairo. The breakthrough for talks was initiated by the visit of Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah, who visited the Hamas-led Gaza Strip for the very first time since 2015 and formally took control of the government departments there. Although it has been announced that a deal has been clinched, there are key sticking points. Hamas had approached the talks with a condition that it will not give up its stockpile of weapons. Mahmoud Abbas, for his part, has maintained that along the civilian administration, Hamas should also disband its weapons wing as well.